Hey, everybody, welcome back to Heart Breathings. Today, we're going to be talking about how do you get refocused when you've gotten distracted, which is basically what I use almost every day once I feel like I've just kind of gone off the rails. So, if you're looking for help on getting refocused after you've sort of lost part of your day and gotten distracted, hopefully this video is going to help. So, let's get started. If you haven't yet watched part one, I did a video earlier this week on how to get focused and follow through with your work. I hope so many of you found that video helpful, and we're just going to build on that today, which is similar type of tips. And these might actually work for getting focused initially, but these are the ones that I really feel pack the most power when it comes to I've tried to be working. It's halfway through the day. I've just been distracted over and over again. How do I refocus myself on the things I really wanted to get done today? So let's talk about it. If you've been distracted a lot and you're just having a hard time refocusing yourself, tip number one is to pick something that is new and shiny and fun. Let's just rebuild the momentum because really, let's face it, it feels like sometimes the two options are I either just lean really hard into the distraction and just go full like screw it mode, or I'm going to get some work done today. I'm going to get something done that makes me feel good so I can have a better day tomorrow and for the rest of the week. I don't know about you, but if I lose a Monday, like the beginning of the week is just really bad and distracted, I find that my whole week is affected by that day where I felt disappointed in myself, or I just had negative energy, or I just have a hard time sort of restarting the engine, so to speak. And so for me, if I have, especially at the beginning of the week, a day where I've just gone off the rails, it's very important for me to try to at least get a little bit done and get a little bit refocused so I can build some positive momentum instead of getting stuck in negative momentum. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is to say, what's fun? What sounds fun? What am I actually looking forward to doing? And this is one of the reasons I love having Kanban boards. Now, my Kanban boards in my office go from top to bottom instead of left to right like a traditional Kanban board. But basically, my Kanban board is a list of all of the tasks that I want to do. It's a culmination of all the projects and tasks I want to get done in the next 90 days. And so when I am trying to refocus myself, I'll often just go stare at that board and say, what here looks fun? I know I need to get some writing done, or I need to get some momentum on this first goal. What sounds the most fun? I do not try to refocus myself into the most difficult, boring, challenging task that I have, because that is such a heavy lift to convince myself to go from I've been scrolling on Instagram for the past hour to productivity mode. It just doesn't seem to work for me. I just end up getting distracted over and over again because I'm resisting the difficult work. But if I can check off a few fun or easy things, so sometimes I might look at the board and say, what's the easiest thing I could get done? Okay, this one little phone call, I could make that call. Or, oh, I just got to reply to that email, or I just got to send that mail out. I can totally do that. And then once I've done a couple of things and I've moved them down the board, I get that positive momentum of, okay, I've got this. And it sort of naturally refocuses myself. If I can't identify anything that feels really easy, sometimes instead I'll find the shiny, new, exciting thing. And I know we have a lot of members in our audience here who are also neurospicy, or if you're like me, you have anxiety a lot. And so it can be very helpful to switch the script here, flip the script and say, what sounds fun to me right now? Because really, the reason that I'm scrolling on Instagram is because my brain is avoiding doing the hard things. So if I can convince my brain, we've got candy over here, let's do something really fun, that is going to get me positive momentum. And it might even get me into a better focus loop for the rest of the afternoon because I'm having a blast. In Ali Abdal's book, Feel Good Productivity, one of the first chapters, or it might have even been in the introduction, he talks about asking himself this question: what would this look like if it were fun? And I think that is such a powerful question. Highly recommend that book because you can look at your tasks, even if they're hard tasks, and you can say, how can I make this fun today? Maybe it's just grabbing all my stuff and heading out to a coffee shop. For me, I know people sometimes on this channel like to make fun of me because do a lot of color code and I have lots of different systems and lots of things like that. But that is how I convince my brain to have fun and stay focused. So never judge someone else's process because it might not be as superfluous or ridiculous as you think. It might actually be a tool for focus. If I'm struggling with a scene, I know that I can take out this pen cup that has all these different colorful things, and I can pull out all of my washi tapes and everything that feels fun to my brain, and I can say, just play for a little while. But what am I going to play with? I'm going to play with that difficult scene, and that makes it fun and shiny. Or you could try something you've never tried before, and you say, I have never tried calling up some writing friends and let's get together and write together at a coffee shop. Let's try that. Suddenly it seems fun. I've never tried taking my laptop out to the lake in one of those picnic tables and letting the kids run around while I write. I've never tried this particular type of music before, but that sounds fun. Something George and I used to do all the time is we would say, okay, we're going to work for 30 minutes and then we're going to go and play EverQuest 2 and we're going to run a dungeon. And then I'm going to work for 30 minutes, then we're going to run a dungeon. And that made it fun again. So ask yourself, what would this look like if it were fun? So, like, have you ever tried just hopping on a Zoom call with a group of friends? Have you ever tried write or die, where it's like if you don't write fast enough, it's going to delete your words? Have you ever tried for the words, where you actually play a game to level up your character? Have you ever tried competing with a friend and saying, okay, we're going to write today and I'm going to try for 2,000 words? What are you going to try for? And then compete to see who hits their goal first. There are a million tools out there that you could try, but you just have to start getting creative. And one of the worst things we can do is just allow ourselves to be in the muck and the mire of multiple days or months or years going by where we just don't feel like we're making any forward progress. So find a way to do it differently, find a way to make it fun, find a way to make it interesting to your brain, and don't give up until you find a solution. And if you're struggling to find a solution, come into the Heart Breathings Writing Community Facebook group or my Discord server, which are both linked below, and ask people for ideas what's worked for you. You're not alone in this, I promise you. So refocus yourself by having fun. Tip number 2 for refocusing. This for me often has to do with my vision board, which I know isn't going to resonate for everybody. I'm high futuristic, so this is kind of always a tip for me, but I sit down and I think of my day in 2 different ways. If I've already missed half the day because I've been distracted, I just sit down and kind of try to get myself into a little just blip of a moment of meditation. And I say, how will I feel at the end of the day if I just keep scrolling? Ugh. I can already feel the like negative, like I'm going to be disappointed in myself if I do that. And then I think, what will it feel like to have finished this chapter? And, like, immediately in my body, I feel a lift in my chest. I feel my stomach gets excited, like, my eyebrows raise. It feels so much better. One of my mentors, kind of coaches, is Andrea Crowder, and she loves to say, "How will it feel to have done?" Rather than thinking just about the doing. Like, a lot of times when we get distracted, it's because the doing of the thing is hard or uninteresting. So a way that you can refocus yourself is instead of thinking about what it will be like to do it, think about what it will feel like to have done it, right? What will it feel like when you're on the other side of it? So let's say part of your goal was to clean up your office today and you've just gotten distracted and you just don't feel like and you don't want to do it and you're feeling kind of low. Stand in the middle of the room and think, what will it feel like to come in here tomorrow and have it still look like this when I don't work well in chaos? And then say, what will it feel like to come in here tomorrow and it's all clean? And sometimes you can just feel that lift in your body that's telling you, yes, get it done. And sometimes that vision of what it's going to feel like tomorrow is enough to get you moving. And if just tomorrow isn't enough for those of us that are more futuristic, think about the result when this whole project is done, the whole book is done, how different your life might be once you actually have, you're making X amount of dollars a month and you're one of the best selling authors. Like, pull yourself, like, take your high, big dream vision of your life and put yourself in that moment right now. You're distracted, you're not feeling great, but man, if you can just take a moment to look at your vision board, to look at your Pinterest boards that have your visual inspiration, to look at some of the mentors that you have on Instagram or YouTube here that have achieved so many of the things that you want to do, and watch one of their videos and be thinking, how will it feel when I am there? And let that pull you forward to getting today's task done, because in order to get there, you got to start doing this work. So sometimes that can be helpful. For some people, looking to the future like that just makes you feel worse because you feel like you're so far from it. So gauge your own reaction, pay attention to your own mental health, and use whichever one feels better for you, whether it's an immediate, like, oh, this will feel so good to have done, so I'm just going to set a timer and get it done, or long term, see if that helps. Number 3 is something you might have heard about maybe on TikTok or other places. I can't remember which book this originally comes from, but There's a lot of productivity books out there, and there are some people that talk about habit bundling. It's this idea of saying, I love to read books, I read all the time, but I also want to spend more time walking on the treadmill. So now I bundle those together and I say, I can only read when I'm on the treadmill, or I can only watch this anime when I'm on the treadmill. So your desire to do the one thing because it's fun, coupled with the thing you've been resisting, means you get them both done at the same time. And it feels both like a reward and you're building positive momentum. You can use this type of concept in your productivity anytime you want. And you can do it either in conjunction with the bundling, or you could do it with sort of a reward system for yourself where you say, I really, really want to go to that concert tonight. So, in order to go to the concert, I have to get this room clean. Or you'll say, if I finish this, I can go and have a cup of coffee out back and read the next few chapters of my book. But if you can't get yourself excited for the task at hand, find a way to either bundle it or couple it in some way with something you're really looking forward to or something you really enjoy and get them both done at the same time. Tip number 4 is to have some kind of focused movement. So, what I mean by this is if you have just been on the couch and you're feeling blah and you're super distracted, or you've been like paying attention to what everybody else is asking you to do and you haven't focused on yourself, sometimes you just need a reset. And that can be helpful if you're actually moving your body, if you're able to do so. So, get up, take a walk. Get up, go do some other kind of activity. And while you're doing that activity, tell yourself this is a bridge. I'm going to spend this activity thinking about what I'm doing for the rest of the day and get really intentional. Move your body, start thinking about that next task. So, just as a practical example, let's say I really needed to sit down and make this video today, and I was just really avoiding it. And I was scrolling Instagram, checking emails, doing these other things, working with the kids, just distracted all morning. But I looked down at the clock and I said, gosh, this has to get done. And I'm resisting it instead of just sitting down and forcing myself to do it, in which case I might get distracted over and over again because it feels hard and I'm not focused. I'll take 10 minutes to go outside and walk around the pasture or walk around the lake or do something like that. And while I'm walking around the lake, I tell myself, I'm going to think about this video and what's going to go in it. And when I'm moving my body in conjunction with the thought process of walking myself through the video that I'm about to make, the tips that I'm going to share, the impact it's going to have on other people, how can I serve them? What do I feel like people need to hear right now? How can I help them? What's worked for me in the past? Like all those different things. It begins to focus my mind back on the task, and I will naturally begin to feel motivation to get it done when I get inside. And there's just something about actually moving my body where if I'm sitting on the couch and I'm trying to get myself motivated to do the task of making this video, it's very unlikely that it's going to happen because I just want to stay on the couch where it's cozy. But if I tell myself that sort of bridge action of, I'm just going to get up and go for a walk for 10 minutes. And on that walk, I'm going to think about whether or not I'm going to do this video or what I'm going to say in this video. That bridge action of just getting myself moving, getting my body up and moving makes all the difference. Tip number 5 is to create a refocus ritual. If you have read The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, this is such a great book. It's very short if you want to check it out, but he talks about resistance when it comes to writing specifically. But this can go for anyone who's a writer or not a writer, that we sometimes resist doing the work that we want to do. And that can look like getting distracted a million different ways. And one of the things that he suggests that I have used many times over the decade or more since I read that book is creating a ritual for yourself or some other type of mental trigger that refocuses and motivates you. It's almost a form of self hypnosis where you're saying, when I do these 5 tasks, then I do the writing, right? And it can be super helpful to sometimes pair short little rituals with the things that we want to do. So, just to give an example, it might be like every time I come in and I'm going to write a new chapter, I light a specific candle, and it's the same candle and same scent that fills the room every time I'm working on this particular book. So, I will buy a different candle that matches the vibe or the scent for each book. And every time I start a new book, I buy a new candle. So that scent becomes a trigger, and I only light it when I'm writing. So it triggers my brain that when this smell of magnolias is in this room, it's time to write. So you could try candle or Scentsy or something like that. You could also say, you've got a crystal or something, and every time you hold this crystal in your hand and you think about your main character, it means it's writing time. He even suggests like like silly things on the surface of like swinging in your chair 3 times, tapping your hat, putting your hat on backwards, tapping the keyboard twice, and then saying, "Let's go." Like, you can make it as elaborate and silly, or you can make it as simple as possible. It might just be that every time before you write, you walk into your office, you light the candle, you lay down on your back, you daydream about your characters, and then when you're ready to go, you put on this one song every time. And it can be a different song for every book or a different song for every character that you're writing, but it might be like, okay, I'm going to play Eye of the Tiger every single time I play that. My brain knows it's writing time. And you could do that and pretty much almost like gamify or ritualize your life by setting those triggers for your brain. And it's really incredible how many times I have actually stuck with this, and it makes it so much easier to avoid the resistance and get the thing done. It's some kind of subconscious training that triggers my brain like, "Oh yeah, it's writing time. Let's get going." But try to create a ritual that feels good and feels exciting and sort of matches the task that you're trying to get yourself up to get done. So, highly recommend it. And if you're going to do that ritual, try to build into your ritual that you're going to put your phone or your device on mute or in the other room when you're going to write. Because if I had to bet, what is the number one culprit that most of us face when it comes to not staying focused? It's this right here. It's our phones. And so many of us do not have a great relationship with boundaries with our phone. And there are people out there that right now that are saying to me, yes, I do. I'm fine with my phone. But I bet if you did the exercise that I recommended in my earlier video about getting focused that you might find on your index card that you were distracted by your phone more times than you realized throughout the day when you were trying to have focused work. And it's almost like at this point, our phones, for many of us, become an extension of who we are, an extension of how we stay connected to the outside world. And it very much becomes a way to self soothe when we feel like we're going through a difficult time, or we're looking for encouragement, or we're looking for information and we just want to feel connected. But that is the number one thing that's actually taking our brain from the thing we're focused on and focusing it on something else. And the more we switch our context over and over and over again, the more difficult it becomes to recover a day that's already partially lost. Make it part of your ritual to take the phone, put it in the other room on the charger, then come in, light the candle, start the music, lay down, think about your character, get up, start a timer, get to writing. And sometimes that act of ritualizing it can be helpful, but not if you're just going to get distracted 5 minutes in by what's going on in your phone. Tough love. So those are 5 more tips. Let me know if you've enjoyed these and you would like to see more, or you like hearing the examples. These videos end up being longer than they could be because I like to give you examples of exactly how you can do it or how it's related to my life. But let me know if you want to hear even more examples or more ideas specifically about how to make your work fun, like my Sweetie store or rewards or timers and other things like that, more specific tactics and tools or apps that you can use. Let me know if you want to see more of that. Also, let me know if you found any of these tips helpful, or if you have your own tips that I didn't mention that you have found really work for you. Go ahead and share those in the comments below. Like this video and definitely subscribe so that you can officially become one of the Hearties here in the Heart Breathings community. And I would love to continue to support you and to share my journey with you along the way. So, if you have been interested in these tips and you find it really helpful the way that I explain things, I would love to serve you in our HB90 bootcamp. It's coming up this Sunday. Doors close at noon on Sunday the 16th, and I would love to see you in there. If you're watching this sometime after that, we do run this course every single quarter. So, come join us, and then you get lifetime access. This particular round, I'm throwing in a bonus of a live closing call. It's the first time I've ever done this, and I don't know for sure that I'll do it again. So come join us. Let me know how that works for you. I want to give you more and more support because I feel like as we're moving through this year, it just feels like there's a lot of change and transformation on the horizon. So I want to serve you and support you as you go through those changes so that you can really begin to see your dream life become your reality. So HB90 Bootcamp, hit subscribe on this channel. Let me know what other videos you want to see. I know I've been talking about my summer reset, but it is my son's 12th birthday this week, and we decided to surprise him with a little trip away for a couple of nights. And so I did not have time yet to record my summer reset, but that is coming next week for sure, along with the release date for The Disappearance of Vanessa Shaw, and I'm gonna have some vlogs on how I'm finishing that book, what that finishing looked like, and also how I'm publishing and promoting that book once it comes out. I'm so excited. Thank you for all the support that you've given me throughout this. So come join us in the boot camp. You get lots of support and personalized attention from me. I would love to work with you and see you in there. Everybody that's in, I will see you Sunday. I absolutely cannot wait. See you there. And otherwise, I will see you for my summer reset routine and my new launch date for Disappearance of Vanessa Shaw coming in the next couple of weeks. All right. Love you guys. Bye.